Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. Although welcoming you is a little bit redundant since all of you are my co hosts on this channel. So, today we continue our world building series. We talk about the schools of magic in our classic Dungeons and Dragons. Yesterday we started out with the School of Abjuration, School of Protective and Defensive and awarding magics. And we came out with a world that was, I don't know, pretty harsh. I mean, a dangerous world outside, um, class stratification with hints of wizardly criminal organizations and protection rackets, if you will. Like, you know what? You'll stay safe if you owe me. Uh, so pretty interesting there. I kind of liked where we went. I guarantee you we could have. I suppose in hindsight we could have done a whole week on it, but it might have been pushing it a little bit. But now we delve into the conjuration magics. Now, of course, as I mentioned initially when we talk about Dungeons and Dragons and the classic schools of magic, or more technically categories of magic, that yeah, dead man. The categories of magic um overlap quite a bit, and the most significant and most visual overlap is the classic pentagram. It's the circle on the ground, and candles and incense and old books and chanting and whatnot. Not that you need to have all of those things, but the whole idea of the pentagram, of the magic circle, and all the accoutrements that go with it, all the materials that go with it, is that something is being called or summoned from somewhere because of some dark ritual, usually dark ritual, and the circle is the protection. So yesterday we talked about abjuration, and I suppose I should have been a little bit more specific. The circle itself, hey Cam, the circle itself is the protection. The conjuration magic summons it here. So I suppose if you want to be a demon summoner, it behooves you to have an abjurer nearby to smack you in the back of the head and tell you, what the hell are you doing? Yep. Oh yes, oh yes. Now the today in our conjuration, we are not just talking about only wizards or only spellcasters that have access to conjuration. What we're doing in our world building series is, what if we created a setting where this kind of fill in the blank, which is conjuration magic, affects the world? What if this power is available to, or has shaped the things in our world? Now, I uh, pulled up a pretty bold list of conjuration spells, and let's go through a couple of them, because again, we have this weird, strange overlap in Dungeons and Dragons and in conjuration, and we're not here to argue the merits of it, like, oh, whether something should or shouldn't be there, but instead we are creators. We are positive creators, and we're going to say, well, if it's here, where did it come from? And that brings to me the idea that, not that this is hey, ow, what's going on there? Yeah, long time no see, physically. And so always glad to have everyone here. Now, when it comes to conjuration magic, one of the things that I've noticed upon their initial spell list, let's see if I can actually let you guys see what I see. Let's see. There we go. Let's share this out a little bit here and pop this up. So, bam, there we go. All right. So, one of the things that, and it might be a little bit difficult for you guys to see what I'm looking at, but one of the things I see initially when you start taking a look at the cantrips, and we have things like acid splash and create bonfire and infestation, mage hand, which we often assume is A, telekinetic, and B, invisible, but it isn't. Poison spray, produce flame. And one of the things I notice in here, such as like produce flame and create bonfire spells versus, say, the acid splash and the poison spray, is that you might be scratching your head like, isn't that like evocation spells? Isn't that spontaneously creating energy? And so what it spawns in my head is that conjuration magics, excuse me, come from somewhere. That now, you know, is that true? No, but I like the idea that when you use conjuration magic, that you're taking something from somewhere else and bringing it here. Whether it is, a lot of these spells are elemental in effect, and maybe summoning and opening up a portal to the elemental planes, or astral, ethereal, uh, type of locations, extraplanar locations, especially when you start getting into the summoning of animals, and summoning of elementals, and summoning of fiends, which absolutely makes a lot of sense. I think the same is done in a smaller context as well. And then we have spells like in we start getting like the first level spells like entangle, find familiar, of course, a floating disc spell, fall cloud, the grease spell, which what is it? Hail of Thorns, and such, Unseen Servant. Great spells, right? But we're summoning something from somewhere here, and not just spontaneously creating it. Although one could make the argument that spontaneous creation of something out of nothing, such as, let's go down here. We're getting the second and third level spells like Find Steed, Flock of Familiars, Healing Spirit, Misty Step. That we are not just, we are spontaneously creating something or transporting something from one place to another. And Misty Step is kind of like that first clue that we can do this to ourselves, uh, to travel instantaneously from one place to another. Essentially summoning ourselves from one place, finding another location that we can see, and then making that the location where we arrive at. We start getting other things like the web spell, call lightning. Again, evocation, maybe, kind of. Create food and water, which kind of brings up the point, because I'll go back to the chat here because unfortunately I can't see it. Kind of create food and water kind of brings up the point that if you're summoning something from somewhere else, whose mouths are you stealing the food out of? That's kind of interesting. All right. Cam is like, Cam is like, oh no, it's like, nope, it's a freaking Mickey Mouse hand. It sure is. Technically, yeah, it is. It is a Mickey Mouse hand. Mufa, hey, good to see you there, guys. So when we start taking a look at a lot of the conjuration magics, for me, I'm going to say one of the rules is that the conjuration comes from somewhere, because I think that gives us an opportunity to create a lot of like dangerous and dramatic and maybe even ethical and moral stories that conjuration magics come from some other place. Now, when it comes to summoning things from, well, see, that's the point, right? Allie's like, hopefully someone that can afford it. It does bring up the point that like when we start talking about like, I'm going to summon a familiar, I'm going to summon a demon, I'm going to summon things from other planes of existence, that we make the assumption that we, the receiving end, the conjurer, the one that summons the elementals that do their bidding, or the bestial creature that they ride on as a mount or something, that we think that we are the ones in control, whereas, or at least a one-way ticket. But what if the things that we're summoning, there is a link back and forth, right? Like if I'm summoning elementals, maybe I'm creating a connection to the elemental plane, that the elementals can use the summoner to thin the membrane to get here. So when we're world creating, not only do we want to create an interesting world, but we also want to create basically drama. We want to create conflict because without conflict, there is no drama. There's nothing for our protagonists to create friction with. Right? So we want that kind of thing. So I'm thinking a world of summoners and conjurers is a world that, while much like we talked about yesterday, that's behind defensive walls, that on one hand, the very power to help humanity out against the horrors out there is the very power that caused it in the first place. Maybe the thinned membranes between the worlds has happened by past ancient powerful summoners and conjurers, and the powers today are using that same power to defend themselves, even though they know that these things are happening. Like maybe there are um, I'm I know this is kind of flowing into tomorrow's talk about divination, but maybe there are oracle sensory type summoners or conjurers that can feel when the membranes start to thin, almost like diviners or mappers or something, and they know that the elemental plane of fire is going to thin in a particular area. We need to get out of here, you know. Um, yeah. Oh man, Cam, you're so silly. Cam says, "Summon a hero's feast that comes with a lavish decorated cake that says Happy Birthday, Asmodeus or Asmodeus, depending on your on how you want to offend the the devil of the ninth hell." But that would be pretty hilarious. You're like, who? You summon food, but what the? You see little balloons lift up and confetti like spill out over the food. Oh man, you like there's like small presents next to all the food, or like some kid's birthday party. You're like, sorry, I didn't know. It would be pretty. That's pretty hilarious. Another thing might be that a way to stop the onslaught of summoners is that a conjurer conjures their a conjurer conjures things from a specified location, and others could disrupt or hunt them down or somehow mitigate their power by going after the location from whence they summon something. So a pyromantic summoner that summons flame summons the same flames from the same location, like a I don't know, a volcano or a caldera, or like I don't know, the pits of the earth or the elemental plane of fire. And the people living on the elemental plane of fire are like, did you see that? Like, yeah, the door keeps opening and closing, and I keep seeing the back of this elf's head, but why? Every time I see, there it happened again. Back of the elf's head, and they're pointing their fingers out, and it's like, what are they doing? And the Ifrit is like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to like tap their shoulder and figure out what's going on here. Like, why are you pointing your hands at other things and burning them? That's our job. Alley says that summoned horse bucks the summoner as soon as it gets or gives it grief for bringing it here. You know what? That's a a thing built into a number of the spells, that just because you summon it doesn't necessarily mean it's under your control, or that the thing you summon, the thing you summon, living beast or inorganic object, might be under your control, but you don't have any control over what happens when it gets here, right? Like, sure, you, I don't know, you summon a wyvern and you get to ride on its back, but everybody else is like, why'd you summon this terrible beast? You know, it's the a minor form of the good necromancer, right? Like, yeah, your necromancer may think they're good, but everybody else is like, why are you having grandma's undead body walk around with you? You're clearly evil, you know, because we loved grandma, we don't love you. Kind of thing, right? Um, Conjurers might be in the same boat. Like, sure, you can summon poisonous gases and flames and things, but we don't want you to do that around us, you know? Yep, the horse nips at the summoner. Also, it summoning things, you know, like for example, I don't know, maybe that owl bear is like, Like I wasn't interested in eating anything until you summoned that horse. Thanks for summoning it, summoning a meal for me. That's another thing. Hey Vince, Ted Man's like Shadowrun. Anyone? Shadowrun has a lot of uh, it, the incident that transformed humanity and brought with it things here between the membranes of the world. I think is pretty cool. So I suppose this might be limiting things a little bit for the summoning powers. Maybe there are founts of magic if we move beyond just wizards having conjuration power. Maybe there are like founts of power or objects that could be enchanted that gives humanity the ability to summon things temporarily. Like for example, a sorcerer, the sorcerer class, the person who's been whose body has been transformed or infused with magic might have fallen into one of these open fonts of magic, and now they have the ability to conjure these things, not because they learned it, but just because it was just like, hey, it was by accident. Or maybe ancient cities from the ancient past have like they're the equivalent of Eberron's high tech. Like when you get to the table, you simply place your hands in the on the small circles on the table, and it summons food. When you go to take a shower, you go inside of this small alcove, and you place your hand against in the print that's on the wall, and suddenly a small frightening storm comes above your head, and it rains down on top of you. And then with just another touch, it turns into a tornado, and blows off all the dries you off. And then maybe with another touch, a beautiful smell of potpourri and lavender and jasmine wafts over your body that makes you smell good or something, right? Like it might be the purview of the very rich, where they can just go out to the gardens and just simply summon a garden from the Feywild or whatever, and it makes them looks beautiful and smells good, and Fey like birds fly and butterflies fly through the air. But for everybody else, they're just like, damn, you do realize every time you do that, you're causing havoc somewhere else. And I think that's very good. I think that'd be pretty fun to have, where they're like warriors out there like, damn it, we gotta every time you like to summon yet one more glass of wine, we are besieged somewhere else out on the borders of our homeland. Vince says summoning would be made much more interesting if you don't summon something generic but specific each time. Yeah. So the horse you summon, and it is taken away from somewhere else. Ooh. And just let's just go with the horse idea, just because it was brought up. Maybe that horse, it has been aging, or is wearing like you summon it one time, there's no saddle on it. You summon it again, and the saddle's got like initials on it, and there's like provisions inside and on the saddle. Or maybe the horse arrives and it's got its head wounds, or you send it back to where once from whence it came because you used it as a hit point shield, and the person who had that horse is just like, what, there's arrows in it, like what the hell just happened, that so I wonder what it looks like on the other end if you keep summoning the very same thing. Like every time you create food and water, it's coming from the same people, and they're just like, damn it, I just made this meal. I poured cereal and it's gone. I cooked a turkey and it's gone. What the hell? Where's my sausage? Vampanoid says yeah, sorry about that, Vince. I didn't mean to not place your comment out there. Yeah, something we made much more interesting if you don't summon something generic but something specific each time, which I think is awesome. And maybe you could try. Maybe there are protagonists and antagonists that can kind of like triangulate where it's coming from. I don't know. I'm my mind's still figuring out like what would be the end result of that. Although it would be pretty cool to send an army after you if they stand in the same spot you keep summoning things from. Vampanoid says, summon woodland beings summons. Okay, sorry. Summon woodland beings summons fey creatures. some parties summon pixies to have them polymorph the party, yep, into a team of T-Rexes. Pixies have low hit points and armor class, which makes them easy targets, though. If they keep abusing that, maybe the DM can instead have them. Oh, I wish I could see these. Instead, have them summon some Fey Lord who's sick of the party getting his pixies killed. Yeah, or hey, they're Fey creatures. Hey, guess what? You're a T Rex permanently. Bye. Right? Yeah, and the Fey Lords are like, wait a minute, why are my people leaving? And the Fey creatures are like, hey, where's Joe and Ibrahim and Adriana and I don't know, Nien Pixie, and they're like, oh. Door keeps opening. They keep leaving. Oh, you want to be a T Rex? Hey, you know, if you're a T Rex and someone pats you on the back, you remain a T Rex forever. And then the wizards are like, what are you trying to say? And they're like, the little stubby arms are trying to like push the pages to try to get themselves to change back, and they can't do it. Oh man. Cam's like, so it's like stealing by raffle? Wizard cast summon projectile. Charlie Brown falls on his back with a thud. Lucy, wasn't me this time. What if Conjuration reached through the multiverse? Yeah. The wizard, every time the wizard shows up and he like fires like a magic missile or something, it just looks like a spiral football that's flying through the air and beating somebody on the head, because magic missile is a force power. And it just disappears, and they're just like, what the hell kind of projectile is that? Ooh, yep. Forgot to go further in the higher levels here. World building with teleportation magic. Portal, anyone? Of course. As we let's see if I can bring this back up here. Yeah, with a lot of spells as we start to get further on. Like we're getting in the third, fourth, fifth level spells. Of course, we've got like Stinking Cloud, tidal wave, black tentacles, dimension door. We went from Misty Step to dimension door. Yeah, dimension door here. Of course, we got black tentacles, faithful hound, and greater steed starts coming up. Now, my head canon makes me think that the higher the level spell, the more rare it is. Not that it doesn't exist, but that it is far harder to find. But I could imagine major city states might have things like a person or a place where they have like conjure elemental, or the city's protected by like a cloud kill spell outside their city walls, or insect plague is something that's cast against um, the enemy countryside if people don't produce those create food, allow them to steal the foods out of the mouths of babes for their create food and water spells. And then of course we get here. This is the spell that I think really transforms everything. Let me see if I can circle it here. Teleportation circle, not just teleportation, but the teleportation circle. Man, could you easily um, do some pretty dangerous harm to your enemies, right? Like you get a bunch of mercenaries and teleportation circle them where they need to go, or you would have to have you would send out advanced groups of conjurers so that you could put a teleportation circle on the receiving end where you want it, and then use it as a like an airport back and forth. Oh, hell's yes. Vince says, but maybe you have to pay something to wherever you take what you summon. I can't summon my horse, couldn't pay my horse tax. Ooh, you have to give to take. Ow, ooh, that automatically, sorry, my mind automatically goes to sacrificing. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, and I don't mean just sacrifice of like goods, like gold, piles of gold or gemstones or something. I'm like, it might be an eye for an eye, or oh shit, what if conjurers themselves are conjuring from each other, or over time you're sending bits and pieces of your body, and those who okay, player characters are not subject to this, but in the world, this is a thing where access to this power is easy. The cost is terrible. So conjurers are losing body parts, fingers, toes, ears, noses, bits of their cheek, internal organs, memories, maybe bits and pieces of their body are their skin leaves or something. Like there's like weird semi-mutated individuals out there who are using the power of conjuration, but every time they do it, it gives them a cost to them, and so to substitute that cost they need other people. I'm liking this. Yeah. Both was like, if summoning takes the item from somewhere else, who was the trickster maid who created the spell summon pants? Yeah. Every time I put my pants on, hey, everybody puts their pants on the same way. I don't. Every time I put them on, they're gone. The mage is like, man, these things fit perfectly. I love it. Oh man. Cam says, what if you summoned from a certain area? Like summoners have to make bonds with the land to summon anything. There could be urban summoners, tundra summoners, and all sorts of area-based summoners. I'm liking that. I or yeah, like it might be it, in that sense. You'd have to go on adventures. Maybe the summoners themselves, the conjurers, get together a cadre of adventurers to go to a place to align, adapt, bond with an area to then use that area from then on. Maybe this might become like this could be pseudo ritualistic, like the equinox, the solstice, the finding a ley line or something to bond with it, and then from then on they can leave. Now, this doesn't necessarily need to be parasitic, theft like. You could even have a good conjurer summoner where they live somewhere and the people there are there to help them. Like I'm my mind goes to a there was sorry, side note, comic book series where there was a Superman like character who was a vampire, but the people that were there were willingly giving of themselves little bits of their energy to fuel this guy. So he was a good guy with people who were supporting him, but you end up finding out that he was vampiric in their power. So a conjurer could have a bond with a place in some distant land where the people there are like, yeah, this summoner teleports back home to protect us, but when they're out there venturing, we give of ourselves to them, whether it's their soul, the materials in their land. The conjure food and water is literally food that they make for the conjurer to take or something like that. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna get back in the chat. I'm sorry because I've lost quite a bit of you. So sorry about that. Vince says there could be a contract like in Naruto. You have to make a contract with a specific family, and you can only summon them, and they remember you and give you some of their powers. I like that idea. I like the idea of like bonding with others, and maybe there is this. Maybe both ends know this is happening. Like, hey, we a family or a cult or ritualistic people are like, oh, the person who's the summoner will be here within a fortnight or something. And then the lone conjurer is like, I don't know why I'm being called to the tundra, the vast tundra, but I'll be there shortly or whatever. Yeah. Mike Gould mentions that conjuration is a theme as a theme um, takes in not only concepts like portals, but Stargate and the like. Yet things coming from another world, elder gods, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, yep. And Vince mentions that everyone could have a familiar. Ooh. Um, on on a more local level, familiars could be socially. Um, there's a social strata. My familiar looks better than yours, bigger, better. They can you go to town and there's like flocks of all these weird animals running around and you don't know why, but they're all watching you and everyone else and such. Yeah, I'm loving it. All right, so go back to what my co-hosts are saying. Mike says an entire guild could be centered on transportation or providing beasts, monsters, or servants for others via conjuration. I like the guild idea, the guild of like the guilds do nothing but create the things that conjurers take and receive, and in return they get something back from it. And abuse of that, i.e., using summoned monsters as hit point shields, is really frowned upon. If not, you go to summon that horse that you've been using as a as three quarters cover, and all of a sudden these mercenary groups pop out of your summoning portal, and they're like, "Damn it, you need to stop it. We're here to punish you." Oh man, that's awesome. Alley Oop says the casks of water are taken from any one of the ship's water supplies out in sea, dooming those sailors. Yeah, yeah, ouch. Yes, stealing food and water out of the mouths of others is terrible. And although technically it could be used as a punishment or even a war crime kind of thing, like, oh, you thought you hurt my people? Bam, I take your food and water from you. Used as a weapon in effect. Mufa says, I could see an adventure around an infinite magical warehouse that supplies all conjured items, but is running out of stock. What do you mean we're out of small animals? Ooh, like a Warehouse 13 kind of Eureka weird kind of thing? Yeah. The proprietor of the warehouse has things like, literally there's like a bonfire just sitting on the shelf. It's not burning anything. It's sitting there, and the proprietor is like checking off a list, like, we've got 3 bonfires left. Man, they keep, every time the bonfire gets back, it's getting doused. you know Wouldn't it be hilarious if two conjurers or summoners go to each other, and one summoner does something that literally summons the other person's spell out of their control back to them? They're like, wait, we're both using the same fire spell? That's weird. We're both riding the same horse back and forth? It's all, from every conjurer everywhere and every summoner, it's only one item of each, but they're all sharing the same one thing. That would be hilarious. Oh man. Mm-mm-mm. All right, I'll move on a little faster here. Michael says, those that summon without the right permit will have their summoned objects or creatures slain or lose a hand, as mentioned yesterday. Yeah. Yeah. What? You broke a rule? Loss. And could you imagine like a random uh, giving this to the player characters, saying, listen, if you violate the rules, we're going to roll on a random table of which body part you lose, and it just gets worse and worse, like a pinky, an eyelid, a little piece of your earlobe, and then a tooth, and then it starts getting worse, a foot, a hand. Yep. um mm, mm, mm. Michael mentions, perhaps the campaign is travel based, and the whole thing is based around the idea of comatose conjuration wizards who power portals or devices, at a black market around wizard engines. Ooh, Minority Report modifier, right? Like, I'm the badass who thinks I can summon everything, but then you find out that it's not me, but literally they're like wizard engines, of which conjurers like me are just pulling my power from other people, and I'm just pretending like it's my power, but it isn't. Ooh, yeah, everyone, you have to speak into the comatose wizard's ear to get them to give you just more power, i.e., getting higher level spells or whatnot, and speak in their ear, and hopefully, hopefully get some power from that. That's kind of cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Vince says, whenever you cast a summon spell, there's a drop down menu where you can see what is still available to summon. Yeah, shit. They want a premium for sharks again. Oh my god. Oh, but you know what? I like the idea of like a Rakshasa Bazaar kind of, like a Rakshasa with like Sphinx and Naga proprietors who are like, almost like time stops, and you try to summon something, and they summon you to their office, and they're starting to pull out the paperwork, like, listen, okay, I know you like to summon pixies, and they made a complaint, and we're going to have to go to the union to figure out and the conjurer's like, I'm in the middle of a battle. Don't worry about that. Time stopped. Listen, This is going to take us about 101 days to figure out. And you're like, last time you said it was 101 days. Yeah, but we're gonna need you here. You're gonna need a union rep, and we've got paperwork for you to fill out. The prices went up. What? Oh man. Yeah, Cameron says, imagine the competition for real estate to summon from. Whole wars could start up from the um start up from like with the one in need of natural resources, skilled people, and monsters. I love that effect. I love that a lot. Like, because on one hand, society might want to flee all of the conjured regions, right? Like, let's go with that tundra, like you brought up, like the tundra, or maybe a swamp, or the ocean, or islands, or volcano, or something. So on one hand, humanity is fleeing in one direction, while others might not want to be in servitude, but they understand that we can't survive out in the wild because of what's happening with the conjurers. So they move to the resource depleting areas in service of and in league with the conjurers, who teleport back and defend their land. But of course they cause high demands from people, or the mercenary units that live in and around a particular region that are loyal to a conjurer, because at a moment's notice they're like special forces in the military. They get summoned to a particular area and they're like, yeah, okay, let's get ready to fight, or something like that. Oh man. Vince is like, so isn't that basically like Pokemon? So summoners are Pokemon trainers? You have to catch everything you want to summon first, but you can also train and evolve your monsters. Now, that one of the great things about the idea of the Pokemon idea is, like, on one hand, you could hand over things that might be well beyond the power of the players, but they worked for it to get it. So, for example, I know the whole Pixies T-Rex thing, even though I hate the idea that when a DM says T-Rexes don't exist in my world, players like fold their arms like, this is stupid. This game is stupid. And you're like, no, the only reason you want to become a T-Rex is because of the numbers, because you saw it in the book, not because it actually exists in the world. But that being said, in a world where T-Rexes don't exist until the players travel to a place where there are T-Rexes to Pokemon the hell out of a T-Rex so that they could then summon them later, or whatever the case might be. I like that idea, because then you can go, because then it's a perfect excuse. Guess what? Players did the hard work. As a dungeon master, great. I did what I needed to do, and they did what they needed to do. So hell's yes. Hand over the reins, and give them the reward if they fight for it. Mike Gould says, a land of conjured floating islands which has violated elemental laws such that earth and air elementals should not be summoned, or they'll sabotage the islands. Yeah, I'm thinking like playing off the pissed off pixies. I could see this. It's, I don't know if you want to call it a civil war, but I could see a war that, because the player characters could be on both ends of this, right? Like, the player characters could be like elemental or fey, um, revenge seekers, powered by these things to go after the very conjurers who ruined the balance between all of the worlds and the membranes that they are. Like, maybe the player characters are literally like, I'm from the elemental plane of air, and you've got to stop this, because literally the elemental plane of air is being maybe vacuum is sweeping across the elemental plane of air, a side effect of what the summoned fog clouds and cloud kill and all that kind of stuff has been happening from the conjurers who didn't think much of it. Yeah, Mike Gould says the players could be Genasi. Yeah. Oh yeah. That, I mean, I was hoping not to make the conjurers the bad guys, but I think there could be a blending of the two, right? Like strange bedfellows, where the the players could also be conjurers, like half and half, where they understand what they're doing and the abuse that's happening. And instead, the players have made actual diplomatic bonds to summon powers from other places, like the warehouse idea, knowing that they have they're like, no, we made a deal that I can summon these things, but because the other people are terrible, and the powers that are trying to stop the summoning and the conjuring completely understand that, you know what, the only way we're going to get to them is we've got to go through the thin membranes to get there. So there's like this push and pull. I like the idea that, because that becomes emblematic of what's going on. Like, maybe a player character was a powerful Jin who no longer is a Jin because they're Genasi, because once they go through the membrane, their power is cut off. There's like a 95% cutoff. Like, your 95% power is still left on elemental plane of air. You're just a Genasi in this world. They're like, damn it. Oh, feeling human. I hate it. Yep. Yeah. Like, Deadman mentions, like, yeah, third edition D&D explored that idea where each spell casting summoned a specific creature. I love the idea of summoning a specific creature with a specific personality from a specific place. Like, every time you summon that pixie, it's the same pixie over and over again. And they're just like, what have you done for me lately? Right. Um, yeah, I love it a lot, and of course you got the role playing aspect in this, the social implications, right? Like, the spell allows you to command what you summon, but that doesn't mean that they like it, right? They're just like pissed off with their arms folded, like, I'll do this for you, but you do realize I've got friends, I've got family, you know? Yeah, you summoned me, but the other ones, you don't have control over the other ones, and they're going to know where you are and find you, triangulate where the hell you are. That is kind of cool. Vince says, what if you are trading favors with wherever you summon from? Like, every X summon spell allows them to summon you, you and your party. See, that's yes, yes. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that a lot, because just because you can summon one creature, as an example, you summon one elemental, you summon one pixie, you summon one familiar, they have a connection with something on the other end, and that thing on the other end is like, I have no loyalty to you, and you keep summoning my family? Hell's no. Yeah, I like the idea of having to have like diplomatic uh diplomatic relationships with um these other beings and such. Vampanoid says, summon Magnificent Mansion. Sorry, did you have a reservation? We're currently fully booked. You summon Magnificent Mansion, there's other people sleep in the bedrooms, stuff. Hello? Sorry, I thought this room was available. So it's been booked. Mike Gould says, or another idea, there's only a finite amount of a particular creature. You cannot summon that T-Rex because someone else already summoned it. The T-Rex is like, who do I go to? Is the two summoners like, no, I summon a T-Rex. No, I summon a T-Rex. Oh, I'm absolutely feeling this. Now, there is some. Oh, you're so bad, Mufa. Yeah, summon mother-in-law. All the other wizards are like, damn, that's a 10th level spell. Damn. They start making a run for it. What's the commercial here in the States? We have an ant problem. Expired, expired, expired. We have an ant problem. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, Mike Ghoul's like, man, beat me to it. Vampanoid says, can you imagine some archfey casting Find Familiar and it's just some normal human? That's hilarious. Their version of Find Familiar is just some average guy. It's just like, you're supposed to sit on my shoulder. Human's like, what? You're my familiar. Yeah. Hey, go forward and see if there's traps ahead. Patting the human on the butt. Go 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 go. Human's like, I don't get it. Hey, you treat us like that as a familiar. See what it feels like. Go check for traps. Oh man. Oh, that's hilarious. Cam's like, exactly. You would be responsible to them. Intelligent summons could require things and guilt trip the party. Even monsters have health needs. You know what? No one says that the thing you summon is in perfect health and condition. What I mean is they could have been in the middle of doing something that was very important. They could be injured, diseased, exhausted, tired, pissed off, um, distracted. Now, game wise, okay, let's mechanically speaking, all the stats are the same, but socially, they might be thinking, I was in the middle of a party or helping out my loved ones and you pulled me away from that. You know, you summoned the T-Rex and the T-Rex is in the middle of eating something and it's like, I'm not hungry. I've eaten already. Dead Man's like the ant problem commercial is Geico. Is it Geico? I couldn't remember. It was like Geico. I was like Geico Progressive. I couldn't remember. Yeah. uh Like a good neighbor, State Farm is here with a luck blade. Shink! Oh, like a good neighbor, State Farm is here. Zoop! Because to summon them up. Listen, I broke my Koalish's I forget what the artifact is. And the State Farm shows up like, yep. Oh man. Ooh. Vince is like, there could be something like when you return old tapes. Ooh, that's going back a little bit. You have to rewind it before bringing it back. What if you had to bring summons back as you took them? Have to heal them first? Ooh, shit. I like that. I like that. Like you have to return the summons in the condition in which you got it. If it's the same creature and you summon it again, it could be worse off. Oh man, you summon a dead horse because you never healed it from the last time you used it as a three-quarters cover in a meat shield, hit point shield, right? You're like, but the horse that you summon it, and then you're like, man, this is stupid. And you summon it again, it's like decomposed, and there's like flies and maggots on it. It's like, no, I wanted a horse. Oh no, that's the finest steed in the land. I mean, you killed it. Summon Jake from State Farm. Yeah. Jake is like, I don't mind being here, but I've got like other things to do. Oh, I love it. Cam's like, what is rewinding an owlbear like? Oh man, you guys are so funny. Summoning a demon. Michael says summoning a demon, devil, or fae could result in producing a future warlock pack. Like Iron Man said, we create our own demons or enemies. Damn, I love that. What a perfect example of like multi-classing. You know, you summon, mind you, we're presuming that the summoning power might not be only only within the purview of wizards. Like maybe there are founts of magic where the barbarian tribes can go to reach into a thing, to summon a thing, to get to bring with them to use in battle or something. Or maybe there's rangers that can go range out into the wilderness to be there at the where the druids are, and there's a summer solstice to do a thing. I'm trying to think of non-spell casting classes, but you get my point, right? So, but I like the idea of a fighter mercenary group that's been getting gifts from something from another plane of existence to then make that promise, that pact with something on the other side, knowing that there's that connection between the two. And so now the fighter gains a level of warlock because they've made that pact. And I like that a lot. Hell, you could warlock pack a whole community where like it's because the whole community has made the pact that they have this access. I'm loving it a lot. Vince, that rewinding an owl bear, brush his fur counterclockwise. Yeah. Oh shit! Damn. Michael says, and because this talks about returning the summoned thing in the condition you got it with, and it has to be returned where you summoned it from because that location is a thin spot in the veil. Because if you move and return it, it doesn't arrive back where it wanted to be. Yes, thank you, Dead Man. Oh, I sorry about that. Yeah, because it's hard for me. The apparatus of Qualish. That's it. Yeah. The apparatus of Qualish is the device, the broken artifact I was talking about. Of course, you can't really break artifacts, but you get the point, right? Jake from State Farm is like, hey, demands half an equal share of the loot. Oh man. Hey, Jake from State Farm could be an agent who's there to monitor the things you keep summoning. And they're like, listen, we've got three T-Rexes left, and every single person keeps breaking them. You're responsible. Oh. Oh man. Vampanoid's like, so Blockbuster rules? Hey, maybe all the blockbusters here on Earth disappeared and they were summoned somewhere else. Ooh. Ooh. All the powerful otherworldly creatures are sitting down watching videotapes because that's where they've all gone. They're like, get the Cheetos out, putting their feet up. Oh man, Michael says the Warlock at Gambit might be more and more dangerous the more powerful the target is. Summoning a demon that can summon demons is almost a guarantee of a pact, or it will summon allies. I love it. And remember, you know, the whole idea of the Warlock Pact is you're making a promise with something that's actively trying to get something for itself. So sure, your conjure spells work the way it does in the game, but what they're doing is they're tracking you, watching you. You're thinning that membrane, and yeah, one fiend is under your control, but the other 16 fiends are not. And we know exactly where you are, what you're doing. And when that fiend comes back, they relate all that information back to their allies. Yeah, this is who's in the party. This is how much gold they have. This is where they've been. Here's their attitudes about things. Oh man. Cam's like Jake from State Farm is like, oh guys, now I have green blood on my khakis. Yeah, what are you wearing? Give me the crystal ball. Who are you talking to? Jake from State Farm. Okay, Jake from State Farm. What are you wearing? Um, boots of elven kind. Oh shit. Michael says, God's help you if your pocket halfling or spare gnome becomes a conjurer. Your pockets start filling up with demons. God, I swore I put it in here somewhere. Oh, so all right. So I think we've gotten a little ridiculous here, but I kind of like it. I like the social aspect of this. Like, for example, at the end of a big battle or something, the conjurers might have to meet up in this like neutral nether space, or even hell, you could easily combine this with Planescape ish. Like they go to the city of Sigil. Oh, I can't stand the fact they call it Sigil. Anyway, they go to the Concordia of Planes, and the summoners or the PCs, or maybe there's a neutral plane or neutral place in the prime material plane or something where they have to discuss things and what's going on, because they understand that the world is shrinking, because every time they keep summoning a thing more and more, um, it's coming from the same locations, or the specific locations. That would be a weird map to draw. But how interesting of a fantasy map would it be to have regions that are the founts of where the summoned magic comes from? Like, and you could be very fantastical with it, like the kitchen where all of the create food and water comes from. Like they might be those pocket halflings and spare gnomes that are doing all this stuff, and they're like sweating, and the ogre magi, the oni cook in there is like, hurry, 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 they're gonna get they're gonna be hungry at some point, and they're just like, oh man, I can't take this any longer, or whatever. Oh man. My wallet surf Neblin has a problem. My underwear closet is constantly summoning problems. Whoosh. Ooh. Mm-mm-mm. Oh well. Method jock straps and bras. Oh well. Cam, you're so right. Hey, wait, don't we live in a conjuration world already? Amazon is all is all I'm saying. Yeah, we just summon our fingers. 2 days. That's too long. Come on. Come on, Amazon. The 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 guild of Bezos. Bezos the high and mighty. Everyone bowing down to the amp. Wow. Maybe there is an Amazon in this world. Like, sure, you come and you summon a conjuration spell, but maybe there's something there that's got a big old cage to get that T Rex out there to you, and they open up the cage when you summon the spell, and they're like, "Up here, delivery service." T Rex comes out back in the cage. Thanks, modern D&D. Yep, yeah, yeah. In a modern day setting, yep, absolutely. Truck just happens to screech around the corner, does like a power slide, opens up the back doors, and kicks out what kicks the bonfire out on the sidewalk. Beep beep. Takes a picture of it with his cell phone and gets out of there. Oh man, that's hilarious. Amazon is a conjuration guild, and wait, we have to have competition. The U.S. and foreign postal services and mail services, DHL, UPS. Ooh. But Amazon's the big one. There's like a lich at the top, and the lich is like on like 30 minutes or else. Not 30 minutes. It's like it's a death sentence if you can't get it there in 30 minutes, and the player characters have to run the conjured items to the conjurers, and they have to get it there in 30 minutes. There's like a countdown. Warlock patron. Bezos is a patron. Didn't you read your Amazon terms and conditions? All pasted on smiley face, but then you're like, he kind of looks like Lex Luthor. I didn't get that when I first made the compact with this person. It looks like Lex Luthor. Oh man. Mike says a conjuration dungeon could be a series of pocket planes where you have to find the door to get to the next room. I yeah, I the teleportation dimension door dungeon where it's basically like a bunch of infinite rooms, or at least demi-planed rooms where you have like a what is it? Handy haversack, um, bag of holding, and portable hole. Wow, my brain just farted on that. But yeah, maybe there's a bunch of oh, well, of course, the master summoners would have these demi-plane floating havens and whatnot above the masses, maybe even held up in the sky castles by the summoned elementals themselves. I love that Vampanoid Bezos is a patron. Didn't you read your Amazon terms and conditions? Michael's like a tiefling appears. Sign for this, please. You sign it. It disappears and your conjuration arrives. Hells yes. Oh, and Michael brings up Elona's quiver with the pulling out the javelins or arrows in constantly and instantly. Of course, it protects those magic arrows of slaying and such. Oh shit, that's hilarious. Cam's like, that's funny, DBJ. I fart out of my portable hole all the time. Yes, I carry an extra portable hole with me all the yeah. How's your hole? Family. How's your hole? Family. Anyway, I can't remember the song, but oh shit. I I like this. I like this world. It's a little bit gonzo and funny, but that would be, you know what? Yeah, sure, we're making fun in the Amazon and the transportation and the warehouse and stuff, but I mean, hell, adventuring, getting summoned to the warehouse to find extra things to summon because they ran out, and now the adventure is getting more things to get to be put into the warehouse, or the player characters are uh, repo agents for Amazon. because so many summoners have been summoning things, and the player characters have to bring it back. Like they've got to bring back the bonfire and the black Everett's black tentacles and the Tensor's floating disc and stuff like that, and steal it out of the battlefield. That would be hilarious. Like the player characters are absolutely lower level than the conflicts they're getting into, but they've got to steal the summon things back again. And maybe some of the summoned things are like, please, please take me back home. I don't want to be here. The earth elemental's like, come on, come on, come on. And the player characters are sneaking around like, shh, don't say anything. And the powerful 20th level druid's like, attack the walls. And earth elemental's like, I don't want to be here. Ripping the walls apart and going underground and stuff like that. The T-Rex is like, send me home. I keep getting arrow blasted. The player characters have like special tape, cardboard tape and boxes to put like incendiary clouds and cloud kill spells back in it. They pick up the bonfire, just put it back in the box and seal it up. Tape on it. They're just like trying to pull the tape, like, all right, come on. Pulling the tape out. This is pretty ridiculous. I love it. I love it a lot. All right, guys, we've come to the end on world building with Conjuration. Not we really didn't discuss all the different character classes, which is fine. Where their powers come from doesn't matter. It's magic items that there's like one Vorpal sword in the entire world that everybody just keeps sharing. But I love this idea. Maybe that displacer beast, there's not multiples of the displacer beast. The displacer beast is like a guard dog in the Amazon fulfillment center going to get the stuff back. I love it. Mike Gould says there was a series in the 80s where cursed magic items from a magic shop had to be retrieved. The Repo Men campaign might be tracking down errant elementals, demons, fae, and such that broke control. And not only that, but the players now have to have like social relationships with certain ones. Like maybe that Fey Lord is pissed off, and maybe the fiendish creatures are like they reluctantly need the player character's help to get the fiends back into the hells, the outer planes, even though they're reluctant to. They're like, well, I guess we have to work together. Asmodeus is like, where's my birthday cake? Still pissed off, like, hey, it's been 101 days. I haven't blown the candles out. Could you guys get my cake back? And then you see some party members somewhere else, like wiping the cake off their face. They're like, oh damn. Michael's like, it was Friday the 13th series. It was the Friday the 13th series. It was like where there were cursed items they had to get back, and some of them were half modern, half ancient, like an old film projector, or like a set of glasses, or there was some dice or playing cards and things like that. Oh, one player is a summoned creature and the rest do not know it. I wonder. Eating Asmodeus's birthday cake, like, why is that cake spicy? Why is this cake so spicy? It's just like there's a flavor to it. I can't quite capture it. Finger on the inside of it with a ring on it. Sauron's like, put me back, please. Oh man. Yeah, I love this. I love the idea of the Repo Man. I wonder how much fun players would have to be in the middle of having to repo things to get them back into this warehouse of worlds or something, or to release from the control of the conjurers and summoners these great beasts and things that they've acquired for themselves. Oh, we're going to end it on this one. We got to end it on this one. Michael says the delivery tiefling name is Asmo, and no one makes the connection from the corporate investment ticker. For those who don't know, there are abbreviations for the investment when it comes across the tickers in Wall Street and whatnot. That's hilarious. And Asmodeus and Bezos are like one and the same, or maybe Bezos is like a lesser fiend or something. And Vampano says, "You didn't question the name Devil's Food Cake." Oh man, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Asmo. I didn't mean to. the whole the whole blood war between the of the fiends, between the devils and the demons, is all over a missing birthday cake taken from some errantly half-cast create food and water spell. And this whole setting started over a pouting Asmodeus, who's just like, or Asmodeus, who's just like, I didn't get a slice of cake. The whole thing. Players are like, but we made you another cake. I want that one. It sorry, it's been eaten. That's not supposed to stop me. Mm. Guys, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Oh, I had so much fun. This is hilarious. It's so much fun. Of course, tomorrow is divination. Divination, third eye, looking into in the minority report, looking predicting the future and astral projection, and I guess astral projection is part of it. Clairvoyance and all that kind of stuff. Kings who every day have around them the people who are like, am I going to die today? Am I going to lose my empire? And they cast augury or commune with nature or commune spell or something. No, you will not die. And how do we do that? So that would be kind of awesome. So tomorrow is divination, but today, thank you very much for you guys for being here. My co-hosts, everybody, I can't name all of you by name because then I would disrespect those who I haven't named. But thank you so much, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe. Go check out Level Up 5E. I know I'm pushing this, but you got to see the playtest. Listen, just take a look at the playtest materials. It's for free. You can download it. The martial maneuvers, we're still tweaking them. I'm not part of that design group, but the martial maneuvers, the spell like abilities of martial fighter classes that allow them to do things. Anyway, it's a whole big thing. The journey rules that I was part of, the whole 9 yards. So please check that out. Levelup5e.com. It's a project over by N World. Anyway, enough of that. Guys, have a great one. I am out of here. Everyone have a great one. Peace.